Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Now we're going to begin Unit 5, which is food and drink. And the first conversation is between two boys, Qasim and Salim. And Qasim says, Kam wajbatan takulu fil yawm? How many meals do you eat in a day? Salim says, Akulu thalatha wajabat. I eat 3 meals. Al-fatur, wal-ghada, wal-asha. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Qasim said, هذا كثير جدا. This is a lot, very many. أنا آكل وجبة واحدة. I eat 1 meal. هذا قليل جدا. That's very little. Qasim says, ماذا تأكل في الغداء? What do you eat for lunch? Salim replies, آكل اللحم والدجاجة والأرز والخبز. I eat meat and chicken and rice and bread. وماذا تأكل أنت? And what do you eat yourself? قاسم آكل السمك والسلطة والفاكهة. I eat fish and salad and fruit. Salim ما وزنك? What's your weight? قاسم 60 كيلا. وما وزنك أنت? And what's your weight yourself? Salim 100 كيل, 100 kilos. قاسم أنت سمين جدا. You are very fat. Salim وأنت نحيف جدا. And you are very thin. So something to note here is that when you're asking how many of something, the word after kam will have a fatha after it. Yakulu means he eats. And another thing to notice is that when we are counting for numbers 3 to 10, we use the opposite gender of the number for the number. So when you're counting meals, the word meal is wajiba. So that's a feminine word. So you would use the masculine form of 3. If you wanted to say 3 meals, instead of saying talatatu wajibat, you would say talatu wajibat. And this is irafa. So that means that the second word will have a kasra at the end. Just like how it normally would in an irafa structure. And it's plural. So wajiba is singular, wajibat is plural. So when you want to say 3, 4, 5 meals, you would say talatu wajibat, arba'u wajibat, khamsu wajibat. And he said talat with the pattern talata wajibat, because talata wajibat is the detail of an action, and that action is the detail is what do I eat. Fatur is breakfast, ghada is lunch, asha is dinner. Jiddan is a word, is a modifier that you put at the end to give the meaning of very. So we will see that it's a very commonly used in the Arabic language. Jiddan means very. So kathirun jiddan means a lot. Kathir means many. So very many, a lot. Qalil, very few, very little. Akulu, okay. Instead of saying akulu, you combine the two alif into one long alif, and you say akulu. And this is because the Arabs like to make the pronunciation of words easy. Kilo is a kilogram, which is approximately 2.2 pounds. So 60 kilos would be about 132 pounds, which is indeed very thin. And 100 kilos would be 220 pounds, which is indeed very fat. Counting numbers from 11 to 99. The thing that you're counting, which is known as the ma'dud, would have the state of nasab. I briefly touched upon this point last time, that every noun in the Arabic language had one of three states: raf, nasab, or jar, which corresponds to dhamma, fatha, or kasra, respectively. So when you're counting numbers and you're using the numbers 11 to 99, the word after it will have a fatha in it. So that's why when you say sittuna kilan instead of sittuna kilin or sittuna kilun, you would say sittuna kilan, because 60 is between 11 and 99. But when you use 100 or 100, you go back to idafa, just like 3 to 10. But instead of saying the plural of kilo, you would keep kilo in the singular, so it would be kilo. So kilo is it had kasra just like the mudaf ilayh would have in the idafa, but it's singular. Samin means fat, nahif means thin. The second conversation is between uh, a stewardess and a traveler. Murif means steward, traveler is musafir, and we see the feminine form of both words because these are two ladies talking to each other. Yatlubu means order or to request. Ta'am is food. Ba'ra means some. So Al-Murrifa said, ماذا تطلبين من الطعام? And remember, when you're using the singular feminine, you put you keep ta at the beginning and you add the ina sound at the end. So tatlubina. Yatlubu means he orders. So to make it to a singular feminine, you change the ya at the beginning to ta and you put an ina at the end. So ماذا تطلبين من الطعام? What do you want from the food? For food. المسافرة بعض السمك والأرز من فضلك. بعض means some. And usually Ba'ra is the first word in the Irafa structure. So some of a stomach. So that's why a stomach and al-aruz and al-aruz have kasra at the end because a stomach is had a kasra because it is the second word in the Irafa. Some of fish. And wa is and al-aruzi had kasra because it's connected to a stomach. So when two things are connected by wow with the meaning of an, then they will have the same ending. So that's a very important point to note. Sharab is drink. Al-Murrifa says, وَمَاذَا تَطْلُبِينَ مِنَ الشَّرَابِ? And what do you want from drink? Al-Musafira, مَاءً مِنْ فَضْلِكَ. I want water, please. Al-Murrifa, وَمَاذَا تُفَضِّلِينَ مِنَ الْفَاكِهَةِ? What do you prefer or favor from fruits? Al-Musafira, التمر أو العنب, dates or grape. Al-Murrifa, هل تشربين الشاي? Do you drink tea? المسافرة لا أفضل القهوة. I prefer coffee. المضيفة القهوة بالحليب. Coffee with milk. المسافرة نعم القهوة بالحليب. Yes, coffee with milk. المسافرة شكرا. Thanks. المضيفة عفوا. You're welcome. Literally, afwa means pardon. So you would beg pardon for any shortcomings or deficiencies in what service you have rendered. The third conversation is between a husband and a wife. The husband had come home for lunch, and he said, "Ana jaw'anu jiddan." I'm very hungry. So Joanne did not have a tanween at the end of it because words on this pattern, they're partly flexible. That means that they don't take tanween at the end, no un sound, and they do not take kasra either. الجوجة الجوجة تقول الغداء على المائدة. The wife says lunch is on the table. الزوج ما هذا سمك ولحم ودجاج ورز وفاكهة. What is this? This fish and meat and chicken and rice and fruit. هذا كثير جدا. This is a lot. الزوجة لا تأكل لا تأكل. Don't eat. And we see now this is the first time now we know how to prohibit somebody from doing something. This is called nahi. A nahyu, and how to form a nahi from the verb is that you put the word la before it and you put a sukun at the end. So and you would change the ya to a ta. So you would do three things. So from yakulu you would make it takulu, then put la before it to make it la takulu, and then you would put sukun at the end, la takul. And that's how you make a prohibition. from the normal form of the verb. He says الزوج لماذا? Why? أنا جوعان. I'm hungry. الزوجة لدينا ضيوف. لدينا ضيوف. We have guests. الزوج لدينا ضيوف. Men. We have guests. Who? الزوجة والدي ووالدتي. My mom and dad. My dad and mom. الزوج أين الضيوف? Where are the guests? الزوجة في غرفة الجلوس. In the living room, the sitting room. On page 98 we have lesson 26, which is vocabulary, and I'll read the words. Lahm means meat, dajaj chicken, samak fish, arroz rice, salata salad, fakiha fruit, miyatu kil 100 kilos, shai tea, qahwa coffee, ma water, tamr date, halib milk, ta'am food, sharab drink, ruyuf guest, ma'ida table, jo'an hungry, wajba meal, fatur breakfast, wada lunch, asha dinner, and isha is the night prayer. So asha is dinner. Yakulu he eats, yashrabu he drinks, yatlubu he orders, wazn weight, kathir a lot, many, qalil few, nahif thin, and samin is fat. And on page 99 we see examples of exercises. Exercise 1, you would write the numeral 1 on what counts as ta'am, and 2 on what counts as sharab. And on page 100, we are seeing the feminine forms of the order numbers that we did last unit. So the last unit we did the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Al-awwal, al-thani, al-thalith, al-rabi, al-khamis. Now, for the feminine forms of the exact same words, we would say al-ula, الثانية الثالثة الرابعة الخامسة. Lesson 27 begins on page 101. We'll be doing this in class, but just to give you a brief run through, exercise 1 is how to ask where's the food, where's the meal, and the answer would be the meal is on the table. Exercise 2 would be what do you eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and the reply would be I eat this and this and this. Exercise 3 is he doing this, and then the prohibition comes, don't do it. For example, ماذا تأكل. For example, the example would be يأكل الطعام. He's eating food, and you say لا تأكل. لا تأكل. But now what happened is when you have another word that begins with a silent letter, يعني the lam in الطعام, you have to put a kasra on the end of the verb. So لا تأكل الطعام. لا تأكل الطعام. Instead of saying لا تأكل الطعام, you say لا تأكل الطعام. Exercise 103, exercise 4 on page 103 would be what do you order or what do you request from the food, and the answer would be I would like some fish or some rice or some salad, please. And we will continue this in class, inshallah. Lesson 28 is about sounds and understanding what's heard. And on page 105, we have the difference between qaf and kaf. Qaf comes from the back of your tongue and the soft part of the roof of your mouth. So qaf. Kaf would be from the back of your lung. It lives in the back of your tongue and the hard palate, the hard part of the roof of your mouth. Ka. And the breath runs out for ka, but not for qaf. So when you put your hand in front of your mouth, there should be no air coming out of your mouth when you say the letter qaf. But ka, the breath should run. Qaf is an awesome letter. That means that there's pressure on the roof of your mouth due to the raising of your tongue. Or kaf is not, so you keep your tongue low. Both of them are strong letters. That means that once you have reached the articulation point, the sound does not need to continue past that because you're relying completely on the articulation point, the makhraj. So the makhraj would be what I just talked about, the back of your tongue and either the soft or the hard palate. So this relied very strongly on the makhraj. It did not need any other work of the vocal parts to continue the sound. The sound should not carry on. They are uncompressed sounds. So it's not like saw and raw and thaw and raw that the sound is trapped between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. You just let the sound move openly. And qaf is a bouncy letter, and the technical term for this bouncing is called qalqala. So that's why you hear aqqa or iqra, because qaf is one of the bouncing letters, and that's because it's a very strong letter that it bounces. That it just bounces. Uh, so on exercises on page 105, you listen and repeat. Also in lesson 28, we'll have exercises to understand what you heard. So for pages 106 and 107, you would listen to the question or number and then put the number in the right. Uh, Listen to the question or the statement and put the number in the right box. Moving on to lesson 29, which is about speaking. And we will be doing this in class, inshallah. And lesson 30 is about reading and writing. So we'll be doing this in class as well. Especially, I want you to pay attention to reading the paragraph on page 111. Exercises 3 and 4. We're going to be reading the paragraphs and answering the questions, so be prepared to do that as well. It will help you to do that before class starts. And we will also have writing exercises in the book. If we have time, if time allows, we will be doing the writing exercises in class as well. And these are for the letters Kaf, Lam, Noon, Fa, Qaf, and Mim. And this is the end of Unit 5, Food and Drink. And I'll see you in class inshallah. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.